and if you really look at what the secret sauce is, it's you have a good leader in the center that has a great team that can do the day-to-day work, but can also do investigative work or help with operations or detectives. But then the management from that leader all the way to the top of the agency is heavily involved. I can speak for, we're in a change right now, but Chief Walther, when he was with our department, he was involved at the national level on all of our national conferences and had a seat at the table on everything that we do and things that he would see Fort Worth do or Elk Grove. Elk Grove is about half the size city we are, and he saw a lot of great things going on in Elk Grove, and he'd be like, hey, why aren't we doing that here? And so you added a lot more projects and tasks to my day-to-day activity. But, you know, having that full buy-in and that full leadership really makes the success happen.
And it does. It goes back to we were doing things because I had that support. Hi, Dalton.
Hey,
Is that how you wanted to start again?
Hey, that's how we start every episode. Hey, Jamie.
Hello, Dalton. Here we are.
Who's with us today?
Here we are again. Here we go again. We've decided to come back to Scottsdale weeks after we interviewed.
Yeah, wearing the same exact shirt.
The chief. It was successful.
Same sunglasses.
Yeah, it was very successful.
You haven't changed that horrible tie.
Still disappointed, no Hawaiian shirt.
Listen. I don't know how we're gonna put these in line with each other, these episodes, but if they've already seen it, there are some episodes where I've just abandoned completely the shirt and tie. Anyway, let's talk about who we have here with us.
We probably should.
We just met this guy.
Yep, just 5 minutes ago. Never met the guy before in my life.
Yeah. Could you do us a favor? Let Dalton know who you are, what you do.
Just Dalton, not you two?
Well, I read up on you.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. It was on the internet.
You know what? I wonder what would pop up if we Googled Henningsen.
Oh, I don't know.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna see how accurate your Wikipedia page is.
Perfect. I'm Chris Henningsen. I'm supervisor of the Real-Time Crime Center for Scottsdale Police Department. When I'm not there, I'm also involved. I've met you two a few times with the National Real-Time Crime Center Association as well.
So far, it's true. Number 2 is National Real-Time Crime Center Association. So far,
what's
he's on
number 1?
Number 1, you're in a video.
Oh, cool.
Real-Time Crime Center of the Future.
Perfect.
It's an hour long.
Is it? Hour long?
Or maybe it's a minute long. I can't tell.
Yeah.
It looks an hour long, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
I'll watch that
later.
Yeah. So first president of the NRTCC.
First president.
First past president.
Threw an extra C in
First
there.
past president.
NRTCCA.
No. Second past president.
Oh.
Yeah, Nikki.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
Yep. Founding president.
The first person to be a past president.
My chiefs like to say founding
president.
So,
No,
but I'm
good.
also sitting next to the founding vice president that had a very, very short term.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
And then
Loyalty.
next to
He's talking to
him
me.
is
Unbelievable.
the founding conference director.
That didn't put together a single conference.
No, you put together the first conference, but it just
Before it was an
No,
association.
you made me
us.
put the conference
That's
together.
right. Yeah. So
Because you were too busy at work.
that's true. That seems to be a common theme, right?
Yep.
In real-time center space,
Yes.
the supervisor, manager, lieutenant, sergeant, whoever runs that place,
Yep.
it is more than a full-time job.
It is.
It's kind of fun-ish, right?
Yeah.
I would never do
A lot of projects.
You would never do that again, or just do that in general.
Period.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, we were out in New Orleans. We got to interview Ross, also a founding member of our association with the Real-Time Crime Center Association, and got to spend time with Matt. So it's always fun catching up with people that aren't just in the industry, but cared enough to actually try to bring out information and push that out to people so that there's resources, right? So I am glad that we get to be here to interview you on this, just because question one, why on earth did you decide you wanted to get into the game of real-time policing. And secondary question, is that what you knew you were getting into when you started this, or right? What happened there?
So I started with Scottsdale in 2005. Coincidentally, same year that New York started their first real-time crime center, not knowing that at the time. I never knew that I would be in probably one of the funnest positions in my entire career, currently right now. Have a blast. I have great people that work within the center, and then I also have great leadership within my organization that allow us the opportunity to do purchase great technology and build phenomenal partnerships, not only with our community, but with our technology partners and then our regional partners. It just makes, like, showing up to work every day is really fun for the most part. When we first started, though, we started during COVID in 2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And during that time, we were still restricted to travel. So we couldn't I couldn't even travel to agencies near us because we weren't allowed in the building because of health concerns. So that's where I met the two of you. We did a lot of Teams meetings. We did a lot of web-based meetings. During that process, we met with probably more agencies to plan out a real-time center than if we would have traveled. I had the opportunity to meet New York and Las Vegas, you guys, other multiple other states. Then we started doing group calls, and during those group calls, it's really Dalton's idea of, hey, we should really push an association.
Was that your idea?
But since I started the meetings, you were like, and we found the president.
Yeah. You know what we should do? We should do all this hard work, and you're going to do it.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. I don't know if you remember this. But
I remember the California where we're going to place this.
We're on a call, and I remember you telling me, like, hey, we're looking at starting an association. And I was like, I want no part of that.
Nope.
That sounds like bullshit.
As he's planning a real-time crime center conference.
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved
well, here's
in
the
that.
thing, though. What's known as the conference today was actually just the product of me getting tired of traveling to try to find stuff. It literally was, right? It was that whole concept of, I'm tired of flying around and finding people that use certain platforms, seeing that one platform, and then coming back just to benefit our agency. So the lazy part of me said, how about we bring them here? Right, and then we just get people that wants to come there. So it actually
That's
worked
why
out.
the NRTCCA conference exists,
It
because
really
Jamie
is lazy.
is super lazy.
I'm the laziest
That's
guy.
why.
Yeah, it literally was born out of that, though. I was tired of flying around, right? I went and saw you. That did it. That going to Fort Worth, that's actually
The
what
first
did it
time
for
we
me.
met?
Yeah, it's like, good God, I don't need to be here
I will
anymore.
never forget that.
Yeah, so
In a bad way.
It is kind of funny, though, when you look back at why we did certain things, why we started things, what goes into that. And so in the real-time center space, I don't know. We were talking this morning before we started filming that if you advance 5 years from now, there's going to be a lot more to choose from as far as real-time centers, platforms in use, practices, policies, all this other stuff.
Let's get back on track.
So you don't know what you don't know when you start a crime center, especially when you started one in 2018, 19, 20, 21, right? In those years, you do know what others had going. The Detroits of the world, the New Orleans of the world, the New Yorks of the world that had centers started and were running. There was some
I'm mad
centers.
that you didn't list Fort Worth in there, but go ahead.
Thank
Continue.
you. That's okay. You'll be all right. Sorry, Joe. Shout out Joe Ship.
Joe.
I like you. So when you think about that, it's like, where do you go? How did you think this is what we're going to do? Where'd that come from for you? And did it fail? Was it successful right away? Like, what was your experience?
So we submitted a proposal to go through the department. It took a few years to get through that, to get buy-in. The problem is that it was very new on the west side of the United States. More of the East Coast and even some of the Midwest really picked it up. We only had Glendale. Glendale is the first agency in Arizona that started a real-time center. they were inundated with tours. They're still inundated with tours. The tours just will never go away. It's really important, though, for an agency to do tours, to see different types of technology, how they set up staffing, how they set up, how operations works. Very important for us. We're very blessed last year to have well over 250 agencies see our center just in 1 year.
That's a lot, man.
That's a lot.
You need an online sign up for that.
You do. I know a
hear-
guy.
I know a
heard
guy.
Elk Grove does that.
I know a guy.
But through that process, I was able to convince our agency, just let me work with my laptop and my radio, and I'll do a part-time. And so part-time led to full-time. Full-time led about a couple months in, I need another body let's start that body part-time. That body became full-time. And then the following year led to me going to Supervisor and bringing on 2 additional bodies. And then this last year led us to implementation of DFR. But through that process is really how the association started, because prior to the association, we were all trained by our vendors. And that could either be one way or the other way. It not necessarily the wrong way, but it's just you're not able to see how other agencies apply the technology. And so with the implementation of the association, now we're able to learn from one another. And of all the different areas, like before this, I was very involved in intel analysts, crime analysis associations. They're all great associations, but this is the only association that I'm well aware of that we all know each other.
Yeah.
And I could pick up the phone and call Fort Worth Joe or Mike in New York or Nikki in Florida and have a direct conversation about what is going on, whether it's technology, whether it's operational, whether it's trends or major crimes, and get the information that we need right away and be able to act on it within our home agency.
Yeah.
And so much so that I know both of you guys were out in New Orleans when we did our first conference, our first major conference. We had some kind of setbacks in the opening ceremonies, and all 400 folks stood up and sang the national anthem. We do things together.
Yeah.
We always do things together. And it's just an amazing profession, and it feels like a family.
It's a good way to put that. What I've realized about the pioneering real-time centers, every one of them, unless I have not met one that is different, had these executive staff, command staff, chiefs, sheriffs, whoever it is, that while they may not have understood what was about to happen, they supported it, like
Right.
almost 100%, right? Just
Right.
this blind, educated but blind support of go do this.
Yeah, it seems like most of the ones that I've seen, I don't know if you agree or disagree about this, that are the most successful are the ones that they found the need first.
Mm-hmm.
They just started doing it. They proved the need out, and then they were like, okay, we need to build around this, and that's when the center was born.
I think, to me, one of the most successful or the most successful centers that I've seen is that you have a great leader running the center, and that leader is backed by their management all the way to the police leader, whether it's a chief or a sheriff. They're involved in the operations of the center on a monthly basis, not a yearly basis, on a monthly basis. The centers, unfortunately, we've seen some centers across the country slowly go away.
Yeah.
We've also seen centers that are successful year-round, and if you really look at what the secret sauce is, it's you have a good leader in the center that has a great team that can do the day-to-day work, but can also do investigative work or help with operations or detectives. But then the management from that leader all the way to the top of the agency is heavily involved. I can speak for, we're in a change right now, but Chief Walther, when he was with our department, he was involved at the national level
Yeah.
on all of our national conferences and had a seat at the table on everything that we do and things that he would see Fort Worth do or Elk Grove. Elk Grove is about half the size city we are, and he saw a lot of great things going on in Elk Grove, and he'd be like, hey, why aren't we doing that here? And so you added a lot more projects and tasks to my day-to-day activity. But, you know, having that full buy-in and that full leadership really makes the success happen.
And it does. It goes back to we were doing things because I had that support, right? Obviously, I needed them to tell me what I could do. What were the parameters here? What were the boundaries?
Correct.
I kind of promise I won't go over those, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that real-time centering has become, I think, known by the masses now. They at least know of it, right? And so those traditional pitch decks that employees used to have to make for command staff, like here's what it is, here's what we're doing, here's what we want to do, those have almost become obsolete to where now it's just
getting
a matter
pushed down from the top now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which has its own set of problems.
Absolutely, because when you push down from the top, typically speaking, a chief or sheriff or somebody like that is going to see it somewhere. Either they've seen it at a neighboring agency, they've seen it at a conference, they've seen it somewhere. And in their mind, what they've seen is what they need, right? And so to no fault of them, that's marketing, right? That's exactly what we're trying to do as companies. But in reality, and you could tell me if I'm wrong here, Chris, but in reality, every real-time center, while it may look similar, are completely different.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to meet a center or see a center nationally, or even for that matter, we're getting countries come out to see our center as well. That is a cookie cutter of another center. I will tell you, when we first started real time, whether it's having technology companies involved or the partnerships that we had, you know, in the very beginning, we didn't really have. We definitely had buy-in from my director and my assistant chief and my chief on everything that we did. But now, like as an example of us being here today, you know, I've already been interacting with other commanders and other directors of, hey, what do you have going on?
Yeah.
They're always now very interested in what we're doing in real time. And that's really based on, it's not based on the people that are in my position or even our chain of command, but it's based on the successes that our team is doing. Our team every week is crushing it on great successes that they're able to work with patrol or detectives on. By showing those successes now, other directors or other commanders or other assistant chiefs are very involved in what we're doing, which is great for us because it allows us the opportunity to continue to drive in the direction that we want to go, or at least that my director, my assistant chief, and our chief have, you know, really talked about where do we want to go 3 years down the line, where do we want to go 5 years down the line. In order to go down those directions, we're going to have to get other partners within the department involved, as well as other partners in the community involved, to allow us that opportunity to drive in that direction.
You know, talking about some of the successes, I think something that a lot of people may not understand is that you got to have buy-in not just at the top, not just at the person supervising, but you have to have buy-in in the field too.
Correct.
Because you can have the greatest crime center in the world pushing information out, but if the people receiving it are not acting on it or ignoring it or whatever, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, we have an open door policy. Literally, the door stays open the entire shift that our teams are in there. We encourage patrol to come into the center and, you know, do their report writing or follow up on whatever they have going on, because when they're in there, they're able to see, oh, wow, that's going on in another district. And so when that happens in the district that they're in, they're like, now I understand what real time will do. They have an understanding. The big thing that has been super successful for us is we have a lieutenant. His name's Dan Green. He is our nighttime like swing shift lieutenant for the weekends, he'll spend anywhere between an hour or 2 hours of every shift that he works off and on in our real-time center and run the entire city from there. And you'll hear on the radio numerous times, I need you to go here, here, and here.
Yeah.
And officers be like, hey, where are you at, LT? I'm in the real-time crime center. And he can see everything that's going on. It helps our employees in our center because they don't have to get on the radio because the lieutenant's doing kind of everything. But it also helps him share and identify where all of his resources are within the city.
I remember when Beverly Hills was building theirs, they were in the research phase, and they told me that they were going to call theirs the Real-Time Watch Center. And they started to tell me where it was going to be, right? And that the concept was, as you described it, kind of a watch commander-ish place. And it was foreign to me because that's not how we built ours and set ours up. But I really like the concept of that, right? Your shift leader is where they get the most intelligence, right? And then if there's exceptions where they need to be on the street or they need to go see the guys and ladies on the street, they can. But I think that's the new way that people are going. Now, in your center, so Dalton started his in a separate building altogether, right? I started mine in a separate room altogether, and you started yours in the comm center, right? Which, I'll be honest, when we're around the country, many people look at that as that's where I should start mine because the infrastructure's there, because we have the ability we already have monitors on the wall, CAD access, etc. So I always refer people to contact you because of that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're
Thanks.
welcome.
Appreciate
it. You've since moved out of the comm center, and so what were the pros to being in a comm center? Because there are some significant pros, I would imagine.
So for us, it was a strategic location for us. Strategic, not by me, strategic by my assistant chief Gandara, our chief Walter at the time as well. Strategically, because as the calls are coming in, we're able to hear them. And being in that center and starting in the center, you really get the opportunity to understand and listen to all your dispatchers. And when he or she raises their voice, that's the call I want to be on. That's the call I want to be able to identify resources to put on it. I got to now figure out what call they're on and see what type of real-time resources we have in that area. And that's as the call's coming in. It hasn't even gone over to a dispatcher yet. And so now I'm already on scene that call. We were in there for about 2.5 years. We moved with them into our EOC during the construction of our center. The reason why we're separate is a variety of reasons. One, we get a lot of tours. Dispatch does not like the amount of tours we get. It's a great thing that we have tours. Mm-hmm. And then we also do a lot of things, not just with patrol, but we do things with detectives, and some of the things in our nature are sensitive. And we talk a lot to one another in the room. And if you're in a dispatch room, there's really not a lot of talking. Yeah. We like to use the word quiet. They do not like the word quiet. Yeah. We use the word quiet because every time we say quiet, something big happens.
Right.
And when something big happens, real time, we love it because now we're able to get into, doing some things.
Was there any friction with this when it first started? Because that's something I've heard from other centers is, the communication center, the dispatch center, they see the crime center and they don't know what it is. They don't know what the responsibilities are. Maybe there's not been great communication between the two. And there's actually some friction that starts to build up.
So I think, obviously we've heard that numerous times. We've had police leaders, whether they're chiefs or sheriffs or even city managers, including some mayors, come in and say, how do you get along with dispatch? That's one of the first questions they ask. They don't ask about what's my tech stack or what's my staffing look like. They always ask the question of how do you get along with dispatch? With us being in dispatch, we all got to know each other so well that they knew once we were already on a call, they knew we understood what each other's lanes were. But I think when you really get down to the root, you understand of, hey, it's like communication. Like we all have great communication with each other. If something ever arose where the communication was bad, you would be having a call of, hey, I think we misunderstood each other. Maybe we need to, come on the same page. It also, most real-time centers, it's either maybe a dispatch thing to, smooth that over, as well as traffic management center. That's another hurdle that a lot of folks had. And for me, what I started doing once I became supervisor is I met once a month with my communications manager. I still do. I meet once a month with my traffic management manager, and I just share, hey, these are things that we're going to be doing in the next couple months. We would love for you to partner with that, or we'd like to figure out what your mission is so that we can make sure that we're staying in the same lanes. Once we did that, super smooth. When we moved from out of the EOC into our center, back in the day, they told me about it, but it never really rang with me until I was at a restaurant and I heard it. But in our dispatch center, when a hot call is going to go out, they would hit a dinner bell. Whole room would hear it, and you're like, okay, a hot call is coming out, you're ready to go. When we moved out of the EOC into our new place, we're like, oh, what do we do about the dinner bell?
Yeah.
We need to know what that pending event is. So we worked with our technology services division, and one of our integrators, his name's Mike Hitt, developed this GUI that goes into a Stream Deck, and every time a dispatcher when they moved into their center, they all had these hit boxes. We call them hit boxes. His last name was Hitt. It's his idea, so we really have developed all these hit boxes around the dispatch center. When they know a hot call is going to come out, they hit a button on that Stream Deck. It notifies the entire dispatch center. It notifies real time. It notifies all of our supervisors' offices that a hot call is going to come out. And I mean, there's a ringtone to it. Something lights up on the computer, and it really another game-changing technology for us. But it allowed us the opportunity to be like we were in the room. And when I say the dinner bell, I was at a restaurant, dinner bell clicked off, and goosebumps. And my wife was like, what is it going? I'm like, it's a long story, but the dinner bell is like, still if I hear it, like you kind of step back, because that's the hot tone. That's the hot tone that everybody's going to jump on.
That would never have worked in Texas, by the way, because the second somebody rang that dinner bell, everybody would have left.
They're just leaving.
Time to go eat. Let's go eat.
I mean, I kind of like to see that, though. So, not literally speaking, but figuratively speaking, real-time centers access a very invisible layer of technology, right? Cameras that are out in the public, license plate readers out in the public. And so how do you decide what goes where when, and what else is considered? Because obviously we talk about Big Brother all the time, right? So are those considerations present in every single new camera location you consider, things like that? What goes into that?
So we'll start with like license plate readers. License plate readers in our city are deployed in areas that are entry points into our city. Sometimes you'll get a stolen vehicle or a missing person. And when those notifications go off, we want to be able to respond to it. If we set up the license plate readers to where they're outbound our city, that means we're going in somebody else's jurisdiction, and we're going to cause, a lot of friction in that jurisdiction with our resources, and we typically won't do that. We're very with Scottsdale, we're really focused on regionalization and working with our partners. So much so that when we started in 2021, it was Glendale and us. Fast forward to today, we have 12 other agencies that have real-time centers, and probably by the end of the year, we'll probably have almost 20 agencies that have real-time centers. We have a great partnership with all of them. And so as one criminal comes into our city and goes out of our city, we have a good relationship with that neighboring city. Thankfully, we have real-time centers surrounding our entire city. And so we are able to let them know what that individual or that vehicle did in our city. And so all of our license plate readers are set for inbound into our city. Cameras, those are all the cameras that we have access to, Real-Time Crime Center doesn't own any of them. We don't install them. We just have access to them. So where they're deployed is really dependent on whoever owns them on what that deployment is. We have over 6,000 of them that come into our center, and how we access them is a little different for all of them, but it's definitely through the partnerships that we have within the city as well as through the community.
So you bring up community, right? So the impact to the community is significant with the Real-Time Center. What have you seen in the few years that you guys have been a center? How do you feel like that's impacted the community the most?
So I think the big thing is everybody has a perception of what a real-time center is. For us, we're all about transparency. We're transparent on what we do, how we do it, and we want the community, so we have 25 community partners. Of the community partners, every one of them have come through our center. All of our elected officials have come through our center. All of our city management has come through our center. I would say a good majority of our police department has come through our center. We want that transparency. We want folks to feel that they can come in. And the community partners, once they come in our center, they're like, as soon as they leave our center, they're like, okay, where do we need to sign? We want this partnership to go up and running. Because I think if you really look at perception, I think they perceive a real-time center to be whatever's on the news, whatever's on the movies, whatever's on a TV show. And then once they come in, they're like, oh, you don't do any of that. For our center, we're more of a kind of a reactive center. We're really only based on calls for service. If a call for service is occurring in our city, we identify what resources we have available to that call to provide real-time data to the officers or police employees that are responding to that call.
Yeah. So we talked about calls for service and dinner bells, but one thing that, Scottsdale, for those that don't aware or were not aware of it, I think it's pretty obvious, is special events.
Correct.
Like your destination city. You've got spring training, waste management.
My
just wanna
favorite
get him
baseball team,
completely off topic.
San Francisco Giants, or the Sacramento A's, one of the two.
You're in a perfect city because we host the Giants in our city.
Do you host the Sacramento A's?
No, just the Giants.
Yeah.
Texas Rangers
Sacramento
all the way.
A's,
Me and
you
Joe
can say I did
Ship.
that.
Joe. We mention Joe Ship's name like every episode. Now,
Why
we should make that a
shouldn't we?
thing.
We should.
It's like an Easter egg.
We should.
Why is Joe not on the podcast?
We're gonna have him on. He doesn't
Okay.
know yet.
Good.
He's
We're
gonna-
surprise. We're gonna ambush him one day.
Yep.
He's going to be the host and the guest.
Yep. So special events. Like how does the crime center work those? Because there's some centers out there they just focus on crime. I think you guys probably are pretty heavily involved in special events. Like how does it work?
So for special events, like our largest event is the Phoenix Open. That event's a little unique because we have a command center inside that event that runs everything in that event. We don't really do anything in regards to the event inside. Everything outside the event and throughout the entire city, Real-Time Crime Center will play a role. Our requests or calls for service that we support almost like double or triple during that week for us. We also go from normal staffing that week is almost 20-hour days or sometimes even a 24-hour day depending on what's going on. And we provide different resources. This year was a little different for us. We actually split and did two centers. We did a South Command Center and our main real-time crime center. That South Command was really just focused on the McKellips district, which is the district that we have well over half of our calls for service for the city. And then our main real-time center focused on everything north. And it was a little unique. We did it to try a variety of new ways, but we had drone operation in both. We had real-time center in both. Every time we have drone operation, we also have a real-time technician with the drone operator, so that our patrol folks know that when that drone is flying, that person's not gonna be able to check traffic cameras or run an investigative database. They're really just focused strictly on that drone aspect.
It's we could talk about Real-Time Center and all day long, especially when we're here with we all got to do it, right?
The
And I say
founders.
got to do it. It was actually very fun. It
Yeah.
was one of the best things I've ever gotten to do in my career. So if we fast forward, I'm going to go back to the association for a second here. We have a conference. I'm still getting used to they. Association has a conference coming up in October. Am I right? September? September. Cobb County, Georgia, right? So because this is a PSA, and we'll use it as such, why should agency representatives, executives, et cetera, know about it, send people to it, or attend it themselves? What's the demographic, in your estimation, of an agency that should go to that? What are they going to get out of it, et cetera?
So agencies that have real-time centers are not just major cities. In fact, a lot of major cities don't have real-time centers. They're starting to get them. But agencies that even have, the biggest push of agencies that I've seen lately that are implementing real-time centers are even 25 officers or more, because now they're able to multiply through a real-time center. And a lot of folks don't know that there's over 18,000 law enforcement agencies in the country, most of which, at least 15,000 roughly, are 50 officers or less.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those agencies are really pushing to develop a real-time center. Every agency, every city is completely different. My agency, our chief just started the real-time center and moved forward with it. Some agencies have to have city management to get involved, or even elected officials. The National Real-Time Crime Center Association is the first conference I've ever seen or ever been to that will include mayors, city council members, city managers, assistant city managers, chiefs, all the way down to the employee working in the center. And some agencies, it's amazing to see, like City of Pueblo was a great example. In New Orleans, they had their mayor, city council members, all the way down to the city the folks that would be working in the center. And they have an outstanding real-time center now. But for us, we encourage anybody that would play a role with their real-time center, whether it's a technology manager or a technology director or supervisor, communications, anybody that is involved in the committee or the setup of a real-time center. But we also encourage current real-time centers to go, because it's an opportunity for them to understand how to enhance their center for that next year.
By the way, it is wild how much that conference has grown. It's
crazy.
I mean, because the very unofficial first one was yours, and nobody wanted to go.
Nobody
So
wanted to be
few
there.
People there.
Except we gave them free lunch, so it was
lunch.
packed
Great
house.
lunch.
Yeah.
And then I think we talked about it last year, right?
Delicious lunch, though, by the way.
The
cookies
What
were
was it?
out of-
Pineapple pizza or something?
Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
California guys again. But yeah, I think we were talking about it last year. It's like, God, this is crazy what
Yeah.
this is now.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought it was, in my mind, I'm like, this is probably the second biggest, most important, most impressive conference, as opposed to ICP, that I've been to.
So I have a hypothesis on that.
Okay.
It was equally driven by police and public safety personnel and technology partners.
Yeah.
Like the interest was there to drive it 50-50 and just push that thing forward, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that helped, because you're not wrong. It's wild, really, to think we had 120 people in
If
Elk
that.
Grove. 6 months later, we were here in Scottsdale, and we had probably double that, triple that, right?
What
and
was last year?
then we went to New Orleans.
Almost 1,000.
Yeah, New Orleans was 600 people,
600
and then
people.
next year after that, 1,000. What's next year? This year going to be now, and nobody that I've experienced in those conferences left without what they were looking for when they went there, right? And so it's just kind of a cool thing.
And a lot of, like last year's conference, along with New Orleans, along with Scottsdale, and probably even with yours too. Yours was free though. Which
Yeah, it was.
also unique.
Should have been.
Hey, listen, world, you're welcome on behalf of the city of Elk Grove, the greatest city in
but-
California.
All the other conferences we sold out a month or two before.
Yeah.
And this last conference we did in Scottsdale we actually, one of the big asks that we had is, hey, can you double up a speaker so I can go see this speaker and that speaker? What a lot of folks don't know is we actually had to turn away 40 plus speakers.
That's fantastic. It sucks, but it's fantastic.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that
also at
much
the same time, we sold out on sponsorships. We sold out on partners. We sold out, obviously the instructors too. We brought those folks in. We sold out attendance right away too. But for us, it's all about partnerships, just like you said. Like, I feel that the technology partners see their, other peers. Hey, have you gone to this conference? We had a lot of different partners tell us that, ISCP is obviously their largest conference that they go to, and now that National Real-Time Center is there, that's their second conference that they're always making sure that they have folks available.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it comes back down to that family aspect. We're one big family, whether it's folks that work in the agencies, but also the technology partners. They're all here they're not always here to sell us stuff. They're also here to, help us out. Go back to New Orleans, when they had that terrorist attack. When that happened, the technology partners, whether they had technology in New Orleans Real-Time Center or not, were reaching out to Matt and his team like, hey, what can we do? What can we help you out with? We even want to give you free access to our technology to help you with that investigation, or how are your employees doing in the center? Just to hear that feedback is awesome.
Yeah, agreed. It's just a fun space to be in, but also a stressful space to be in,
Yes.
right? There's a lot of politics that go into every piece of technology that is used in a real-time center. And so navigating that is fun. Where do you want to see real-time centers and real-time policing be in 3 to 5 years? Like, what do you see as the future of it?
Well, obviously I see a real-time center in every agency across the country. It's going to look different than, maybe a neighboring city. Regionalization is really important. So if, agencies can't afford a real-time center and they join a center like Elk Grove or even Fort Worth, they join that center, that's great. So they're still getting those resources, or they have their own, trying to figure out what that virtual connection looks like. We've said it from day one when we started the association, we never want a technology partner to become a monopoly. We want multiple technology partners out there to really compete, and it allows us the opportunity as an agency to decide which organization we want to go with. But with that said, when you get into a region like ours, we have every technology partner here. So really trying to figure out how do we share our data? Because at the end of the day, best practices is to have 2 employees on every shift, so that if somebody takes vacation or is sick, you still have staffing to cover that shift. 1 person or even 2 people to work an active shooter at a school is overwhelming.
Sure.
And so that's where we would ask for assistance from either Phoenix or Tempe or Salt River to come into our system to help manage the different cameras. So that's ideally where I see in the future of us trying to figure out how do we connect with our neighboring agencies, how do we focus on that regionalization effort, and not even maybe just even here locally, like the Super Bowl travels from city to city. How do we help out another city for the Super Bowl? How do we help out, LA in a few years with the Olympics, a worldwide driven event, and in a whole nother state? And so really trying to figure out how do we help out our real-time centers nationwide, not just maybe in our backyard.
That was a good answer, by the way.
Yeah.
I would have
I'll
just
give
said
it a
something
9 out of
stupid
10,
like
yeah.
AI
good.
robots.
Robots.
AI robots would be in the
It's
centers.
fine.
What next question, please?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. we would have had a different answer for that, for sure. 1, thanks for being on here with us. 2, thanks for hyping up the NRTCCA.org, because I
But
still
the
feel...
website
Oh, the website.
is NRTCCA conference.org.
That's true.
Yes.
It is in my opinion, critically important to do as much research as you can possibly do. Don't get bogged down in it to where now you never actually move forward.
Correct.
But do as much as you can. That's where you start, right? You can get a hold of everybody there. I mean, I found Dalton, right?
The greatest moment of his life.
But I encourage agencies to go spend time at a center, not just do it, not just do the 1 hour tour.
Yeah.
Try whoever you're going to put in that center, see if that person could do a ride along for 5 hours or 4 hours. Like in our center, we do ride alongs with all our neighboring agencies, like where I send folks to them, they send folks to us. That allows them the opportunity to build relationships when they pick up the phone and, hey, I'm trying to get this. They already know each other.
Yeah.
But taking that time to spend some time and allow the agencies that have real-time centers really allow them the opportunity, encourage them to open their doors to other neighboring cities.
Yeah.
Well, find the end users.
Yeah.
Correct.
And constantly learn.
Yeah.
Right? Because I found that the majority of real-time centers are always open to trying something somebody else did that was successful and seeing if that works for them.
Correct.
As opposed to the old school ego way, right? Of we built it, it's the best, and therefore we're going to stick with it, right? And learn, open your mind to it. Dalton has some rapid fire questions for you. Go ahead, Dalton.
I do? Oh.
You've been preparing them for weeks.
All right. So rapid fire questions.
Yes.
Favorite co-founder of NRTCCA, Dalton or Jamie?
It's a great one.
Nikki's not here.
Wow.
Cop
He just
out.
threw in a new answer altogether. He's like
Cop-out
option
answer.
C.
Jeez. Well, I
Option
mean,
C.
to,
I mean,
to,
if I was going
to be
answer
fair,
that,
I
I would have probably picked
I would
Nikki
pick
too.
Nicky anyway. Yeah, I
So
definitely
that's
would pick
fair.
Nicky.
That's fair. Dalton, and this is one that we ask now, it seems every episode because it's critically important. Dalton very much doesn't like pineapple on a pizza for some real weird reason. Pineapple on pizza or no?
Yeah, no.
Unbelievable.
See? Smart
Oh.
guy.
You know, I was in a place that didn't even have it as an option.
Was it Texas?
No, I don't go to Texas.
That's
I love you,
it's
Texas.
because you're not allowed in.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, they know me. I'm coming. Yeah, no, I still don't understand that.
But what's your favorite food?
My favorite food.
Favorite food?
So is this that? What'd you say?
He's gonna say tofu.
Tofu, raw. Yeah, just right out of the packet.
If you you had to eat this food for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
what's
I've
the
had
food?
this question asked of many times, and it is a toss-up. So it is either anything that can be on, in, or around a tortilla, because it is super versatile, right? So I'm going burrito / tacos / quesadilla / just eat the damn tortilla.
Okay.
Or pizza. One of the two is where I'm going to end up. And
Pizza with pineapple?
listen. Now I'm certain that we have at least a dozen viewers of this show. So
Well, they're
For
all
the-
NRTCCA members.
yeah, for the dozen
and my parents.
yeah, for the dozen viewers that we have and Dalton's parents, hello Webbs. I've met all three of your sons now. I would want them to try a pizza, and I challenge you guys to try this. I challenge my friends in the Northeast that believe that they have the best pizza as well. A pepperoni, pineapple, and jalapeno pizza cooked well done with a little bit of extra cheese. It'll change your life.
Okay.
It'll
I'll
change
remember
your
that.
life, one way
I'll
or the
remember
other.
that.
Yeah.
Just gonna massively disagree. But anyway, this was fun.
It was.
Let me
Yeah.
guess. You just hit pepperoni.
No, just straight bacon. So you were sitting there talking about tortillas and pizza. I was like, you know what? Bacon goes with both of those. Just pile it
You do
on.
Is that a thing?
You
Yeah,
do the
yeah.
bacon
You
bowl.
just call the pizza place. I'd like to order a bacon pizza.
Yeah, I get a bacon sandwich. Like it's bacon buns with bacon in the middle.
No, that sandwich with bacon makes sense, but a bacon pizza, I've never heard that in my life.
Oh yeah, it's down in Texas. We got that bacon pizza for sure.
I feel like I don't believe you, but I don't go to Texas to find out.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to have to.
I
Would
just love Kristen's trying to figure out what do I cut out of this.
Yeah,
whole
our
thing.
director's like, this whole episode, except for what Chris said, is gone. Yeah.
Well, this is fun. All right,
was fun.
We'll,
Yeah,
we'll,
I
have,
get
we'll have to have Chris on again. And we'll talk about pizzas and stuff more.
Yeah, or what we were supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Invisible technology.
Cool. All right.
Perfect.
Next time.
Thanks, Chris.
See ya.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.